Northern Colorado has become a popular alternative to the Denver metro area. So there's a recent city that's popping up, and so many of you guys ask us all the time, what is Wellington, Colorado, and why is everyone moving there?
All right, let's go.
If this is your first time watching, Pete and Chelsea Sweeney here, and we are your Colorado real estate family. What we'd like to do on this channel is cover Denver and all of its surrounding cities, giving you all that information that you need to know if you're planning on relocating into this beautiful state. So if there's something that interests you and you want to follow us, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, notification bell, maybe give us a thumbs up if you do like this video.
And as much as we love making these videos for you, we love helping with your real estate needs even more. So if you're looking for a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Colorado, here's our phone number right down below. Let's cover the basics first, and that is, where is Wellington, Colorado? So Wellington, Colorado is about 19 minutes pretty much directly north.
Yeah,
of Fort
straight
Collins.
North of Fort Collins.
Like, it's a little closer to the highway than Fort Collins, but directly north. And then if you're looking from Denver, it's about an hour and 10-minute drive. However, this is why Wellington is hitting a lot of people's radar, and that is because it's actually really close proximity to Wyoming. So whether you are going to Fort Collins or Wyoming, those are going to be where these people are looking to either work or play. They want to be able to be close to either of those cities. So if you're looking to just the Wyoming border, it's about 20 minutes. But if you're looking to the closest city in Wyoming, Cheyenne, it's going to be about 32 minutes.
Yeah, and we've actually talked to so many of you guys who are living in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and where you'd rather live in either Fort Collins or Wellington's another alternative that you're kind of looking at. So we do see that often. It's like, hey, I'm actually not that far, only a 30-minute drive up to Cheyenne. That way I don't have to deal with the traffic down in Fort Collins.
The big thing that you're probably wanting to know is Wellington really growing as fast as everyone say it is? Like, why are people choosing Wellington? So is it growing this fast? Absolutely. It's one of the fastest growing small towns of its size in the nation right now. So in the last 5 years, it has had a 43.9% growth, which is insane. Year over year, so from last year, it was only 3.9%, but still, over the last 5 years, it is the largest growing city.
So here's the biggest thing that I think, kind of seeing from my perspective, why I think it's growing so fast. Number one, Fort Collins. Fort Collins has been one of the top growing cities in the country these last few years. I think 2020 Livability ranked it like the best place to move to in 2020. Also, just like we already mentioned, is Cheyenne. So you have these two cities that are kind of feeding into Wellington. People who don't want to live directly in these larger cities, and so Wellington's a great option. That's why I think it's growing as fast as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's break into why we think, or some of the reasons that people are choosing Wellington.
So we kind of shared our thoughts with you as to why we think Wellington's growing, but here is one big driving factor as to why we think it's growing so fast, and it's because it's one of the safest cities in the nation. So it's ranked according to city statistics. We always have a hard time. Statistics. Try saying that tongue twister. According to city statistics, it's actually rated an A+ in regards to safety as a city. And so what does that look like? So total crime overall, according to statistics,
oh my God,
is 3 in 1,000.
Yeah, so violent crime comes in at 0 in 1,000, and it actually it said that there was 0 in this last year as far as violent crime. And
then so you're probably wondering, you know what, if violent crime's at 0, well, then what's bringing that 3 on? It's most likely going to be that property crime, where it's 3 in 1,000 according to city statistics.
Yeah, and not only that, guys, all of these numbers that are coming in, these are all way below national average. And when I dove into it a little bit more, all of the like 3% that they're actually looking at, or whatever brings it down a little bit, is all related to theft. So.
Now, and I don't know if you guys caught our other videos. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring some new smaller cities into our videos a little bit more for those of you who don't really know the Colorado area. And so the last one that we covered, I think it was Frederick. It was very similar in regards to safety and everything. Maybe that's a big reason why these cities are growing the way they are. Or I guess the more towns are growing the way that they are.
Yeah, the other thing too is, if you haven't checked out our other video, go check out our surrounding cities around Fort Collins. We cover some of these and just kind of like basic overview, and then we're going to try to be diving into them over time. So go check that video out if you haven't seen it. Okay, so let's dive into the second reason we think people are choosing Wellington, and that is the cost of living. So the cost of living overall in Wellington is 110.6. So Tell them how we do.
Okay,
cost
so
living.
for those of you who haven't, if you've already seen our cost of living, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm sick of seeing this. But we need to make sure for those of you who are watching this for the first time, understand what those numbers mean. So 100 is your national average. If it's higher than 100, then it's more expensive than your national average. If it's below, then obviously it's cheaper than your national average.
So Wellington as a whole, again, is 110.6,
Yep.
so above national average. However, Colorado as a whole is 120.5.
Yep.
So it's still way more affordable, or one of the most affordable cities here in Colorado.
Yep.
The groceries, Colorado as a whole usually comes in below national average on groceries.
Yeah.
Wellington is also trending that way. It's 99.2,
Yep.
whereas Colorado actually as a whole is 100.7. So pretty on
A little
par
bit
with
cheaper,
national average.
it's groceries. But
And then utilities is 94.9, so significantly cheaper than the national average
Yep.
in comparison to 98.4 for Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I will say, transportation is also below. It's 96.2, whereas Colorado is 106.7, so that one is above national for Colorado as a whole. But one thing that I thought was really interesting was the miscellaneous. So we're going to cover housing. So if you're like, Chelsea, you skipped the housing one, don't worry, we're going to cover housing next, so stick around.
Yep.
But one thing I thought was interesting was the miscellaneous. And we'll get some ideas from you. But the miscellaneous was 152.5 in comparison to Colorado's at 120. So that's significantly higher,
Yeah.
and actually the only thing that's higher in cost of living.
some of the times when I see these numbers that are seem like a little more inflated than they should be, I think that there's an error in the how they kind of got all the numbers together and stuff. But I mean, it might just be that they have expensive restaurants there. They might have expensive clothing. They might have as many big box stores
Right, that's what I
as
was
most of these
thinking.
other places, and so you have more of those boutique-y spots.
Yeah, that's what I
and
was
so that
thinking
might be
too,
why
more local.
your shopping is a little bit more expensive. That's driving that miscellaneous price up.
Yeah, because it's restaurants, shopping, clothing, all of those things. So I was thinking the same thing, that
Yep.
maybe it's just because it isn't super close to the biggest city, and so they're having to rely on their own kind of local places.
Yep,
So.
exactly. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and dive into the real estate. What does that look like? Your median sales price in Wellington, Colorado as of November of 2022, you're looking at $485,000 median sales price. What does that look like compared to Fort Collins? So Fort Collins, I believe it's right around $540. So you're looking at not quite $100,000 gap, but pretty close to it. It's that $60,000 to $80,000 gap in regards to your median sales price. Be able to get a little bit more bang for your buck moving up to Wellington.
Yeah, so what is the increase over 12 months? Because that, I think, will show also the correlation with the population growth.
Yeah, so the increase is 7.42% year over year, not month over month. And so from 2021 to 2022, November, you're looking at 7.42%.
So that is different than a lot of our other cities that have seen the double equity gains. I think
Yeah.
it's a little early for Wellington.
Well, I think that we just looked at it. I think Denver was only 9% in November.
That's true.
So
That's true. We're
yeah,
starting
so
to
it's
see
still
them go below.
it's still looking pretty good up north. Fort Collins is still. I can't remember. Did Fort Collins was still double digits as well?
It was, and when a lot of things were changing in September and we started to see our market slow down,
Yeah.
Fort Collins was the only thing that was actually holding strong as well. And so I definitely think that people who are wanting to move to Fort Collins, and as Fort Collins becomes more popular,
Yeah.
people are going to start looking. I mean, a lot of them already have, but people are going to start looking at these surrounding cities.
I agree.
I told you I'd come back and talk to you about the cost of living on
Yeah.
the housing spectrum compared to the national average. So housing for Wellington is 139.9, whereas Colorado is 167.5. So yes, it's higher than national average in Wellington, Colorado compared to other states or compared to the national average. However, it's significantly lower to Colorado as a whole. Okay, so for any of you families out there who have small kids, a lot of you outside of crime and housing are wanting to know about the school system. So this is one thing that I would say Wellington is good for. So I looked at a bunch of different sites to try to get you the most accurate information.
Yeah.
The thing about Wellington is it doesn't have very many schools. And so it has 2 elementary schools, a middle school, and a couple preschools.
The good thing is that Wellington actually just got a brand new middle high school built. And so right now I think it's like 6th through 10th grades, because 2022 was the first year that the school is actually opening, and they're adding a new grade every single year. So eventually by like 2024, 2025, it's going to be 6th all the way up to 12th grade.
So you're probably wondering, like, what did they do before they had a new high school? A lot of people were commuting to Poudre High School. So that's going to be in Fort Collins, and it's only a 20-minute drive. So, and it's also a B+ school. So it's a really high rating. And we all know Fort Collins schools are known to be really well. If you haven't seen our best schools or best counties in Colorado, go check that out, because Fort Collins definitely hit the radar. And so a lot of people had no problem driving their kids down 20 minutes to go to school, and are still doing that for high school as well.
All right, and so there's also some other stuff in city statistics talking about the classroom size in Wellington. Do you kind of fill us in on that?
So Wellington is still a small town,
Yeah.
and so the benefits of small town obviously are not as many kids, not as big of classrooms, and obviously the teacher to student ratio. So
Yep.
if you're looking to be kind of in a smaller town, have your kids go to kind of a little bit more of a tight-knit school that's going to be a little smaller. Maybe they're better. I personally did so much better in smaller classrooms. That might be a good option for you and your family.
I have a feeling that our son would do better in smaller classroom size too. He's a
Less
chatty,
friends for that
He's
one,
a
though.
chatty Cathy for sure. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he'd be like, there's less friends here. But yes, as far as learning goes, he would probably, he's like me. We get distracted.
Social settings.
We get distracted.
Yep.
So, okay. All right. So we gave you 4 different reasons that we think people are choosing Wellington, Colorado. If there's any questions that you have about the city, please let us know. Comment down below. We do these videos for you.
And of course, guys, we're going to throw that phone number below right there. That way, if you are looking at purchasing real estate in the state of Colorado, we'll make sure to be answering those texts, calls, emails. It doesn't matter. You reach out to us, however works for you.
All right. Until next time.
Bye.